Now, there's a new report looking at water supplies around the country now. I want to catch up with the New South Wales Water Minister, Melinda Pavey. Good to talk to you, Melinda. We've talked a lot before about dams in particular and the need to construct more water storage in this country. The Productivity Commission has looked at emergency water supplies around the country, and they focus on a lot of other issues, you know, saving and reusing stormwater runoff and even recycling water. Is that where the focus should be rather than dams, or is that a cop-out?
Cop-out, we need both. Absolutely need both. Actually, Orange in central west of New South Wales is the first town and city in Australia to do stormwater harvesting. They're down to 120 litres per day per person in that community. Incredible achievements. Recycling is a thing of the future. We need it for industry, we need it for irrigation, and I think ultimately in 10 or 20 or 30 years' time, there won't even be a comment when we're drinking recycled water, which we've already done. I mean, originally the water's from the dinosaurs, so recycling will be a part of it. But we also need, because of climate change, the ability to capture water when it falls in big events, and that's what the climate change analysis is saying. We're going to have bigger events and longer periods between good rain. That is why dams make a lot of sense. Yeah, well, they've always made a lot of sense, haven't they? And there haven't been major dams built across this country in the last 20 or 30 years. It's clear that with an increasing population, and indeed if we do have longer droughts or more frequent droughts, we need to capture and store more water. It's very clear. Very clear. And what's so disappointing with the Productivity Commission report, you know, done by good-meaning people in Canberra, they're saying, oh, let's just take it off the irrigators, let's take it off the farmers, let's take it off the people that put the food in the shelves in the supermarket, so we can give it to the town. Well, the town of Tamworth, for example, where they were talking about the Dungowan Dam, 50% of that town water goes to industry in food production. And we need the farmers to be able to create the crops to feed the animals that goes into that food production. It's a virtuous cycle. People in Canberra don't get that. They've got a big dam, 280 gigalitres at Cotter Dam. No one quite understands how they got that dam through with the sustainable diversion limits required by the Murray-Darling Basin. But, you know, it's one rule for Canberra, one rule for regional New South Wales, and it just sort of reminds me of Animal Farm. Not all pigs are equal. The thing that a lot of these people want to focus on is desalination plants. This country spent upwards of $10 billion on desal plants, most of which have sat idle most of the time. And they, when they are operational, they consume huge amounts of energy as well. So they seem a pretty poor substitute on current experience compared to good dams. And, I mean, we're challenged by having locations around our capital cities where we have the room for the big dams, so we need to have that mix of desalination. And I think really good conversations need to happen in the community about recycling. I mean, Perth is doing a great job in recycling. They're drinking their recycled water. San Diego, a couple of months ago, just opened a big recycling plant. They do it well in California and the United States. But it's something that the community needs to lead, be part of that conversation alongside government. Government shouldn't be forcing things on people before good community debate and discussion. Yeah, I think recycling is very important. But when you think about it, every drop of water you've ever drunk has been recycled, you know, somewhere along the line. It's a closed system. And the trouble is with that, of course, that involves an investment in a lot of infrastructure as well, doesn't it? Yeah, but I tell you what, Chris, the most expensive drop of water is the one you don't have. And we were facing that during the drought in New South Wales, the Peel Valley, where we're looking at Dungowan Dam, working towards a final business case, money on the table from the Liberal and National Government in New South Wales and from the Commonwealth, making New South Wales safer and stronger. We're getting on with that job. We're doing the homework. It's going to be important. It is expensive. There's no doubt about that, but it's bloody expensive not having water. Spot on. Thanks for joining us, Melinda. Thank you, Chris. Melinda Pavey there, the New South Wales Water Minister. You've got to look at all options and certainly not rule out more water storage, more dams. Some pretty sensible advice there, I would have thought, from her.